Hello and welcome to Runner's Gear. Today I will be talking about a watch that I use regularly. It's the Forerunner 630. I purchased this back in about April of 2017 and costs approximately $270. This watch has lasted me about 4 years, and as you can see, I've actually added a different band onto the watch. This one is a magnetic band. I switched the bands out because probably about after a year and a half, the band it originally came with had actually broke while running. So I found the magnetic bands were a little more easier to deal with, except for they keep sliding every time you adjust. So meaning that if you have a small wrist, as I do, you'll see that the band, as you run, it will slide down and you have just to keep adjusting it. But that's just about the band. So as for the watch itself, these Forerunner 630 is actually a really good watch. It lasted the 4 years, as I mentioned. It does have some nice features here, like a light up feature. The only part about the light up feature is it only stays on for a few seconds. So whatever you're doing, you'll have to either repeat that light or get the information quickly. It also has a different settings. So you can have treadmill, you can do bike, you can do race, or just a general run. And then there's like the IQ settings. We'll get into that in a little bit. And then just a clock. So as you can see with this watch, this isn't the normal face that it comes with either. I've actually updated the face for my specific needs. I like having the time of day large. And then I also like having your steps present on the face of it, and then percent of my total steps that I should be taking for the day. So I'm at 86% of the steps I should be taking for the day. And then the date, and then also the battery life of the watch. And I just charged this probably about an hour ago, and it max charges at about 98%. And as you can see, just even within the last hour, it's already gone down 5%. You saw it go down 1% now. So with this watch, obviously there's a lot of different things you can do with it, as I was showing you the different features. So with like when you're running, if you want to start it, you would just press the top button and it would start. To stop it, you would press the same button up here. Then start it again, you can do that. And then as you're doing this, you can set a split, which is this bottom button here. So I'll just stop it here. And then what I'll do is I won't save it just because, but you could save it. And then I'm discarding it. Yes. And so with this watch, there are some features that are obviously better than others. And within that pros and cons, the watch is very durable. Like I said, it lasted 4 years. It has about 200 hours of data storage. As I mentioned, I can customize the faceplate, or you can customize the faceplate, which I've done. It also has live tracking, so while you're on your run, if there's a significant other that wants to know where you're at, you can do that. The hindrance with that is you must have your phone with you so that you can have the Bluetooth connected to it, which then would allow it to track you and then send the signal back. It also has sleep monitoring, which is a very nice addition to it. The one thing I would note about the sleep monitoring is that it registers you as awake by movement. So if you're laying in bed and awake and you don't move, it will still signal that you're sleeping. So that's not much you can do about that, but obviously it is an issue if you're trying to track your time sleep monitoring. The other thing that I like about this watch is the Pro is that it's actually splash proof. I've swam with it a ton of times. I usually take it off in the shower, but when you're swimming with it, you can actually go up to about 3 meters deep. I've never actually tested the depth, but I have swam with it, whether it was pool, ocean, lake, whatever. I haven't had any issues with it. The other nice feature about this, or the Pro about this, is the add-on that you can have, which is Garmin Connect. So all your information gets uploaded easily to this Garmin Connect. You have to swipe to the left and then connect through your Bluetooth, and then open up the app on your phone and then sync it. And that's usually takes about, depending on how much data you have, if you just have one run, it usually takes about maybe 30 seconds. If you have multiple runs, it could take a minute or two. But again, it's still fairly quick. Like I said, it also has 2 weeks storage of data. So if you don't update your runs or save them to the Garmin Connect, you will lose the data after that time frame, or the 200 hours of storage. So as I said, this is the power button. This is the back out of whatever you're in. So if you're in, like if I'm in this app, I can press that button back out of it, or I can swipe. This top button here is the signal of the activities that you're going to go into, and then this is your split button. There's also a menu down here, and that actually opened fairly easy for me this time, but using the back button, I'll get out of it again. And you'll know that that button, this menu, this hamburger menu type button on the face, it isn't always easy to use, especially when you're out running or you're doing your activity. So I generally have a difficult time trying to update or use that. Just kind of talking about the last few of the pros. I would say that the watch, like I said, was durable, but it also probably was needing about one charge per week when it was new. Now I would say a con for it is after 4 years, I probably have to charge this every other day if I'm using it with activities. If I'm not using it for activities and I don't do anything for the week, then I would say I probably need to charge it after about 2 or 3 days. So it is very doable in that sense. As for some of the things that if you're looking for a watch, it doesn't do swim tracking. It does do heart rate monitoring, but the bad thing about that is you actually need the heart rate band for this to do that. That's just an additional cost for that feature. The same would go for the lactate threshold. You would need the heart rate monitor band for the lactate threshold monitoring. I haven't looked into too much into the advanced metrics, so like the stride or the cadence features that are shown on your Garmin Connect or on this additional information, but that is, if you're into it, that's definitely something that they have and they offer. The one thing that I would say is with the font faces, you can obviously update them. The problem with that is if you're adding a picture to the font or to the watch face, it actually, fonts will look a little weird and the images will look a little pixelated. So I don't recommend adding any type of graphics to this. This is not the same type of watch face as like a phone or anything that you might be accustomed to. While it is touchscreen, it just doesn't have the same type of graphics allowed there. And then the last few things I'll say about this is that like I mentioned, the hamburger menu is a little difficult to operate while you're doing your activity. The one thing I did notice as well is that while I'm running, if I don't hold this button down and lock the screen while I'm doing my activity, so now I won't be able to change anything. If I don't have it unlocked while I'm doing my activity, the the actual run statistics, so all my fields will look a little different. So let's see if I can get into it. As you can see, it's a little slow just because of the age of it, but so if I'm in my running and I don't lock it, so this distance field or the average pace or the timer, any of these fields could actually change while I'm running to something else, which is kind of annoying. So if you forget to lock it and that happens, it's, like I said, it's difficult to change with this hamburger menu. So I typically usually have to wait until I'm at home and sitting down, rested, and able to manipulate the actual fields again. But that's obviously something that's easily rectified. You can update it quite easily. But with the font fields too, there are actually two different settings when you're in your run. So you can have, I set this one up, I customize this one just because that's what I like. The one thing that I don't like is it only actually offers 4 fields. So it gives you another screen that you can look to add different types of fields. So I have one for distance, and then I have one for speed workouts. And then I'm back to my home screen, basically. The one other thing that I would note here is that while you're getting situated, you'll see that the bar at the top is still trying to find a signal. I've actually found on occasion that if this isn't maxed out and green lit and tells you that it's connected, then you might have trouble of it finding a signal. As I mentioned, the data fields, there's 2 different screens, and I've customized it for distance and sprints. But that's the max you can have, are the 2 different fields. You can't add a 3rd or 4th. At least to my knowledge, I haven't seen any option for that. The one other thing about their software, the Garmin Connect software, it is nice software, but it doesn't actually, it's not fully customizable in the sense that I can't go back to specific dates and do a year to date or a week to date or a month to date, meaning that if I want to see what I ran from this Monday to this Friday, it won't allow me to do that. But what it will do is it'll give you the past 7 days or the past 30 days or the past year. So that is kind of annoying. I don't understand why the functionality isn't there yet. If it has the dates in there, you should be able to customize it. And the one other thing that I'll add to that is that a lot of these features that they have are nice, but they're also add-ons. So like, as I was saying, these apps, you need your Bluetooth connected. So if I want the weather app, or if I want music, or if I want the calendar. So there are so many of these different types of apps, but again, you need your Bluetooth connected. So you need your phone with you while you're running to have those within it. So I generally don't do that. I generally don't have my Bluetooth on ever, only because it actually wears the battery down that much faster. And like I said, since I am charging this every other day, basically, it's too much. And even just talking here for like the 5-10 minutes, we've seen it go from 94% down to 86%. So almost 10% within the few minutes. So that just shows you within this short video how quickly this battery would die after 4 years. But again, it's a long-lasting battery. I have looked into getting the battery replaced from Garmin. They informed me that I would have to send the watch in or to go into a reputable dealer, and then they would take the watch, fix it, and replace the battery for me. But the cost would be up to $110. Again, I think $110 to replace a battery in a watch is a little excessive, especially when you can get a new watch for approximately $200. So if you really like your watches from Garmin, that might be an option. In this case, it's not. I think the next thing I'm going to do is try to find a way to recycle the watch, so I'm not filling up landfills, finding a way to repurpose it. I'm wondering if there's any groups or organizations out there that might take these watches and replace the battery and then repurpose them to communities that might want or need them. So overall, I would say the Garmin 630 watch is a fantastic watch. Uh, I would probably purchase this again if I had the opportunity. I don't believe that these are in manufacturing anymore. So unfortunately, I'll be looking for another watch. And hopefully soon you'll be seeing my new watch unboxing video. All right, thank you and take care.